Welcome in Florida Congressman Byron Donalds, a member of the House Oversight and Budget Committees. Congressman, great to have you with us as always.
Good to be back with you.
All right. So President Biden, of course, campaigned on uniting this country. That was on the banners all over Washington, D.C. this time last year. But a reporter asked him about his speech in Atlanta and these comparisons for folks like yourself who don't support the voting rights legislation that they're pushing. You know, they're calling folks like you Bull Connor. And the president actually snapped at that question. Here he is again.
You campaigned and you ran on a return to civility. And I know that you dispute the characterization that you called folks who would oppose those voting bills as being Bull Connor or George Wallace. But you said that they would be sort of in the same camp.
No, I didn't say that. Look what I said. Go back and read what I said. And tell me if you think I called anyone who voted on the side of the position taken by Bull Connor that they were Bull Connor.
I mean, from your perspective, Congressman, what did he say? I mean, it sounds pretty consistent to me.
That's exactly what he said. And first of all, I'm not even sure why the president's yelling at the American people. We didn't say that. That's what you said. He said it. Look, here's the deal. You have somebody who obviously is incompetent. He came out yesterday to try to shore up whatever is left of his presidency, which has been a disaster. But what really happened is he confirmed what everybody has already thought about this president, that he doesn't know what he's doing, that he's in over his head, that he lashes out when you call him out on the things he said, like telling people that today, if you oppose the radical takeover of elections by the federal government and by the Democrats, that you're now Bull Connor. That is literally what he tried to say I was, what he tried to say Republicans are. But the president is wrong again. And he lashed out at this reporter because he was called out for his hypocrisy. He was called out for his lies.
I want to focus, too, now on what happens after yesterday's vote in Congress. Obviously, the voting rights legislation has failed. We know it's dead now. Also, Chuck Schumer's efforts to blow up the filibuster, those are also dead now. But we're going to see progressives going after Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema. I want to focus on something that Manchin said before the vote took place on the floor. Here he is.
I cannot support such a perilous course for this nation when elected leaders are sent to Washington to unite our country, not to divide our country. We're called the United States, not the divided states. And putting politics and party aside is what we're supposed to do. It's time that we do the hard work to forge the difficult compromises that can stand the test of time.
Obviously, if they got rid of the filibuster, it would be one of the most divisive things, not just now, but down the road, Congressman, as well. And I'm sure you were skeptical this time last year at the president's promises to unite us as a country. But are you surprised at how divided we are, despite his promises to unite us? And I think the filibuster is a perfect example of their kind of willingness to do that, to separate us.
I'm not surprised, unfortunately. And the reason is because Joe Biden's not a leader. He's never really has been. He puts his thumb in the air. He tries to figure out which way the wind is blowing. And when he put his thumb in the air last year, the wind was blowing hard left, and he decided that he wanted to be a historic president of the left and not just be a moderate like he always has tried to put himself out there to be, or frankly, what the real mandate was, which is to do nothing, because there really wasn't a mandate. The elections were so close. Republicans won so many seats. The mandate was really for détente, just do nothing. And so he decided he wanted to go and be a radical left president. And the only way to do that is that you have to literally create disunity in the United States, because easily half the country doesn't want to go along with this. And then you have senators like Manchin and Sinema who don't want to go along either. And so that's where the disunity comes. And he has perpetuated that by lashing out at people who call him out on his hypocrisy and his lies.
We'll see what happens. There's lots of threats out there about primaries against Sinema and Manchin, but we'll see. They seem to be representing their constituents pretty well. Something else important I want to talk to you about as it results, as it comes out of the news conference yesterday. The White House had to clarify the president's minor incursion remarks as it relates to Ukraine. The foreign minister of that country accusing the Biden administration of downplaying the Russian threat. But the worry here is that we are sleepwalking into a hot war with a nuclear power. Now, if Russia does invade Ukraine at some point, does President Biden need congressional approval for military action? And if so, would you support it?
Number one, yes, I think he would need congressional approval if we decided to engage to that level with Russia. Number two, I think he should bring it I would support that. Here's the issue that we have. We have a situation where Vladimir Putin realizes that he sees weakness in our president. His statement at the press conference about he might go into Ukraine and we'll figure it out from there was a disastrous statement to make. Nobody agrees with that statement. Even Kamala Harris had to come out this morning and try to walk it back completely, and that didn't go well either. We're in a bad spot. Vladimir Putin knows this. Xi Jinping knows this. And so what is required now is strength from the United States, because we cannot allow Russia to move any further than it already has with respect to Ukraine. It will destabilize Eastern Europe, and it creates far more problems for us from a foreign policy perspective going forward, even more than the disaster of Afghanistan, which frankly is the genesis of all of this movement with Ukraine.
Now, as it relates to supporting any kind of military action, a lot of the people who disagree with you would say, look what happened in Afghanistan. We can't let the same people in charge go into Ukraine as well.
Well, look, I think the key thing for everybody to get is one of the reasons why we are as involved in Europe as we have been, obviously, is from what happened during World War II, so on and so forth. We cannot allow Europe to be destabilized like this, because eventually the United States will be drawn into a future conflict. And those future conflicts will be far more disastrous than trying to prevent this conflict from occurring here in Ukraine. And so it's important that we take a strong, hard stance here, because we don't want that line to move any further, because history has shown us time and time again, look through any bracket of time on the planet, if you demonstrate weakness and show weakness to people who are, frankly, authoritarians, it only gets worse for free-loving people. It never gets better.
All right, Congressman Byron Donalds, thank you for your insight on this. We appreciate it. Great to see you, sir.
Anytime. Thank you.